Hey, hey, what is good, people? Welcome to Just a Gem with Elisabeth Carson. Today, I'm so excited because I have my great friend that has become my family, literally like my brother, Dr. B Sirius today. And we are going to talk all about what I love most in this world. I think it's like top, right? Mushrooms, okay? Mushrooms, magic mushrooms, medicinal mushrooms, everything mushroom. So I'm so excited to dig into the subject. It's becoming so popular these days, and people are becoming more aware of these beautiful, beautiful living conscious beings that were placed here for us. So thank you, Dr. B, for being here with me today. I appreciate you.
I'm honored to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yes. And, we both know, I mean, we've gotten into some deep conversations about some mushrooms now.
Yes,
So,
we have.
yes, we have. Explain to me what your opinion is when it comes to these living beings.
Well, my opinion and my research leads me to realize that 65% of our DNA is basically mycelium, mushroom. We are related possibly more to them than anything else. They say we're from monkeys and all that kind of stuff. That's not, accurate. But
No.
mushrooms, where most of our body is mycelium, and mycelium is the number one thing there is, period. And in my opinion, they're everywhere. They're omnipresent. You know what I'm saying? You can't have anything without them. So
Right.
when I think of what you might call God, I said, well, to me, that must be mushrooms because we can't be here without them. And I just think that it's amazing that when it comes down to it, we may just be walking and talking animated mushrooms.
I would tend to agree with you in that in that opinion, Dr. B, because the research that I've done on mushrooms and fungi is that actually back when everything was a single-celled organism, right? Things split into two separate beings, and one was plants and animals, and the other was fungi, right?
Yes.
So where do we stem from within that? I mean, I know that there was a time when mushrooms took over the planet and fungi took over the planet. So they've been here since the beginning. They're still here now. And even without us, they were living on this planet. Pretty amazing stuff. I mean, these things are everywhere. Like you said, as soon as we breathe in 10 spores of mushroom. I mean, it's amazing. So these things have definitely elevated my consciousness in many ways, not only medicinally with the medicinal beautiful health benefits that they have, but also with psilocybin and creating so many different neural connections in my brain that I never even thought I knew I had. Right. So, can you talk a little bit about magic mushrooms?
Well, magic mushrooms, partly what they do is open us up to other dimensions
Yes.
because if you just look at mushrooms in nature, they grow on some things that are rotten. Like you have a part of a tree that's having an issue, the mushrooms grow there and they actually repair that area, you see. So they're known for their your ability to repair broken tissue. And when we take them, a lot of times we have a distortion in our nervous system. This distortion, there's stress, there's all of the things that are causing us to have nervous system issues because the nervous thing is big. I mean, that's what's wrong with most people. It's their nervous
Yeah.
system. That's
Right.
what your internet is, basically the
Mm-hmm.
internet of your body. And I realized that by using the medicinal mushrooms medicinally and properly, they will go in and begin to repair and actually rebuild neural networks. They because our brain or our nervous system, is basically plastic. It can be repaired. So
Mm-hmm.
neuroplasticity is when you're able to repair broken genes or broken nerves or something that needs to be repaired in a way that we may not be able to do with herbs or other medicines. They have an ability to go in and find out what's going on and begin to work it out on
Mm-hmm.
a emotional, spiritual level. They have been essential for me at times when I was going through blockages or stress or trauma, which we all have. And
Mm-hmm.
I remember the first time I tried medicinal mushrooms. It wasn't on a medicinal trip. It was just hanging with friends back in the day. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't have any intention. I was just like, you just get high, man, and get away from the world.
Uh-huh.
I did have some sort of journey that actually changed my perception of things. I
Did
just
you?
knew, I just knew that what I was seeing in my everyday life wasn't accurate. It
Mhm.
was like a representation of something else. I
Uh-huh.
did know that. I had this knowingness in me. This was just from getting high, just for fun. You see what I'm
Yeah.
saying? We were tripping off the lights and this, what I'm saying, the geometrical,
Yeah.
journey and the rainbows and all of that. And that was it. But we had
Uh-huh.
no proper, focus. It was just to get
Yeah.
high. But then it was
Mhm.
much later in life, when I was, becoming, the person that I am now. I looked at the medicinal side of this, and we had a focus. So I'm part of a tribe, and an indigenous tribe, and in the tribe they use these for for journeys, walkabouts, and
Yeah.
to take you on that next level. And
Yes.
we had an intention. So you wrote down what your intention was, what you were attempting to work on in life. That's the time when everything opened up, and I realized. I think that was the first time I actually feel like I met God. I
Mm.
felt like I met the creator, and the creator was me.
Yes.
It wasn't like it was this dude up blowing clouds. It was like, whoa,
Right.
wait a minute. They were like, no, it's you. And
Mhm.
I kept talking about me in my
Mhm.
journey. I was talking about, whoa, well, what do you have to tell me? What do you have to tell me? And basically they said, well, it's not you, it's we. You're not a you, you're a we. And I'm like, what do you mean we're a we? What is this? And basically what my message was on that first big journey is that I was a universe, and that each one of us were universes. It's not you. It's a whole world within a world within a world that you represent. So
Yeah.
you have to be responsible for your world.
Right.
You are like the God or the co-creator of your world. But
Yes.
that's when I begin to look at, wow, what I eat, what I drink, because I realized at some point that some of the things that I was doing was destroying whole worlds of microorganisms.
Mm.
And there's
Deep.
this thing between the bacteria and the mycelium, that relationship. In fact, at some point you can't tell the difference, because you can't
Mhm.
even have bacteria without mycelium. You don't have
Yes.
anything.
Yes.
As you said earlier, they're the oldest living things,
Yeah.
at least on Earth. So they got here
Mhm.
first because
Mhm.
they didn't air. You know what I'm saying? They can
Mhm.
live in any environment. They're in every environment, everywhere and anywhere.
Yeah.
They're omnipresent, you know.
Mhm.
And by having an experience with something that old is deep. Because even with other things, like let people doing ayahuasca and San Pedro mushrooms, and they're not that old. And
Mhm.
sometimes the mixture is funny. We don't know if we had enough or too much. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But people got to watch you. But with the mushrooms, they've always been totally safe. And the information they give you is ancient, ancient, ancient. And I found that after that first big trip, that journey, that what I was seeing in the world was not accurate. I began to
Mm.
see the network. I began to see how everything was connected, and how
Mhm.
I was actually everywhere, and I was not in my body. That there was a
Mhm.
part of me attempting to fit in this body, but I was
Yes.
extremely vast and connected to everybody and everything.
Yes. I love that. It's deep. It's deep. Can I ask you, Dr. B, what was your intention going into
My
that
intention
first
was,
journey?
well, at that time in my life, I was really, I used to go through a lot of what they call manic depression.
Mhm.
I've
Mhm.
always been a musician, an artist, and there's times when I'm totally gone, I'm totally out, I'm through. You can't talk
Mhm.
to me. I'm in a dark place. I don't know if I'm going to make it. I don't know if I want to live or not. You know what I'm saying? I'm
Mm.
totally,
Mhm.
totally done.
Yeah.
And my thing was what was that about? Why do I always have to have this depression? Why do I have these issues socially? Because me
Mhm.
talking to people individually even has always been an issue. I can get on a
Mm.
stage, but talking individually, having individual relationships, it's weird because I don't know what they're talking about. I don't know what they're saying. There's too much information, and I'm
Yeah.
reading too much information from people. What they're
Yeah.
saying and what I'm reading is two different things. So it's like noise. You know what I'm
Oh
saying?
my God, hold on. Let me stop you right there. That just hit me in such a deep way because it's like people's front face, right? Whatever they put on as their ego, as their act, but you read what's behind that. And it's
Yes.
like all the front is just yap. But
Yes.
what is behind is what's real. I feel you like 1000%. Okay, sorry, keep
Yeah.
going.
It's like they're acting, they have this mask on and you hear
Yes.
all this stuff, and for me, Michael Beckwith told me, he told me years ago, he said, well, you're like a medical intuitive because I could just read people right away and just tell what's going on with them. I don't know how I know. I didn't ask
Hmm.
for this. I didn't take a class. It just hits me. And
Hmm.
I realize when I talk to people, I hear everything, I see everything and what they're really feeling. And it's too much. If I go in the grocery store, like lately, I can't even go in the grocery store
Mm.
because it's just too much information. I'm
Hmm.
hearing the fruit and the vegetables screaming that they're not happy. You know what I'm saying? I'm hearing the people. I'm hearing people in other aisles, what they said, but what they didn't say. It's
Yeah.
too much. It's too much. And then the fluorescent lights, all these
Yes.
things have been in my life since I was a child, causing me stress.
Yeah.
Because I'm
Yeah.
not, I'm attempting to fit in this world and do what I need to do here. But this is a lot of gravity down here. It's a lot of drama and trauma, and people are living so much in the past and in the
Yes.
future. Their heads, they're
Yes.
talking all the time. They don't know how to be quiet.
Right. Right.
They don't know how to find a quiet place. Me,
No.
I could always grab a drum or an instrument and sit there and play and meditate and just get into a zone and be
Hmm.
gone. But most people don't have
Hmm.
any way to get away from it all, or they don't know
Right.
how.
Hmm.
So my intention with that trip was to find peace. How do I find peace in silence,
Mm.
on that particular trip? And that was the time when and in the beginning it was strange. This was like the scariest thing. I thought I was dying. And
Really?
yeah, I thought I was dying because I something was taking over me, right?
Yeah.
Somebody was
Yeah.
taking the steering wheel and
Yes.
I couldn't hold on to it. And
Hmm.
my ego wanted to hold on. Well, who am I
Yeah.
going to be? So
Lose
there was
control. Right.
lose control. The ego wants to hold on to this thing that really,
Yes.
is out of control. Why don't you just let it go anyway? But your ego says, no, but this is my identity. And
Hmm.
really, it's not. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So you try to
Yes.
protect it. So you're fighting. But these dark things, they were like, I've always had dreams when I was young about these dark reptilian, like slippery, snakish type things. I've always had issues with reptiles. And they would
Mm.
always be in my dreams, slithering around the bed, and I couldn't
Wow.
screaming. So
Wow.
these things popped up and they were
Mm.
there and they were really dark and ugly. And I was like, I had to let go. I just had to,
Yeah.
'cause, you can't fight it. Once you get on the
Right.
trip, after a while, there's nothing you can do. And
Right.
when I let go, these other beings that looked like the Pillsbury Doughboy jump, they popped up. And they were
What?
dancing around and they had music and they were like dancing around and smiling. And they just started absorbing these dark, ugly, reptilian, slippery things.
What do you think that stands for? That's deep. That's
I,
deep.
I don't know, but that was like, it was two sides of me. It was like
Yeah.
the fun side, the part that's
Yeah.
self-healing, self-replicating. Then there was the
Yes.
other side, right? Because everything is connected to its opposite that was in fear
Hmm.
and anger and fighting. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? It was like war and survival, where these other things, it was about love and dancing and thriving and music and
Yes.
harmony. And they just kept dancing and they were like, I was laughing. I remember I couldn't stop laughing because they were so funny. And they were doing little moves and like they were doing a show. And they just absorbed these little things and got rid of them. And I was like,
Yeah.
is that easy? And then, I started seeing all of the lights and the colors that are not on our, that we can't even see these colors normally.
Right. We see less than 1% of the light spectrum. Yeah.
And then those sounds, I started hearing the sounds,
Mm.
musical sounds and tones that turned into colors and the sacred
Yeah.
geometry. Then I remember
Yeah.
looking at my hand and my hand kind of came apart and I could
Hmm.
see the substructure of my hand. I could see the energy of my hand. I could see it's like I was like I was in the quantum universe
Yeah.
traveling.
Yep.
I could go
Hmm.
anywhere and everything. And it was so much
Yes.
fun. And it was so beautiful. And I remember I was just crying and realizing that I've been missing out on the best part of life.
Mm.
And that's when I realized that this is what some people would call God. And most
Hmm.
people who have had a journey on mushrooms come back and say, that was the only real spiritual experience I've ever had. Church
Yes.
didn't get it. Meditation, yoga, you're meditating for hours and you're doing breathing. This particular place that I got to, I never got to with any of that. I
Mm-hmm.
was there and I was
Yeah.
gone.
Yes.
And it was deep because I still had control. It wasn't like I was out of control. I could still get
Yeah.
up, go to the restroom, look out the
Right.
window. I'd look at
Mm-hmm.
the window and I'd see the trees, and there was energy. Like the trees, I could see energy from the trees all talking
Yeah.
to each other.
Yeah.
And the birds
Mm-hmm.
and everything was in communication.
Yes.
Because the
It was in
mycelium network,
perfect communication. Yeah.
perfect communication.
Yeah.
And I realized
Mm-hmm.
that, this mycelium network, this is the communication of everything. This
Mm-hmm.
is it. This is what creates life. And in order
Yes.
to have life, you have to have communication. There's some, magnetic, electromagnetic force or whatever. There's a way or waves of energy that connect us all. And we're all
Mm-hmm.
connected. And we're
Yeah.
all actually telepathic, but we've turned that part of our brain down.
Yes,
We're
we
all
are. Right.
telepathic. You know what
Yes.
I'm saying? We're all connected.
Yes.
There is no separation, is what I learned.
Mm-hmm.
See,
Right.
that
That's key.
there
Right
is
there.
no
No
separation.
separation. We are everything. Everything is us.
Exactly.
It's the one place. You got to the one place where you become the entire universe, and the entire universe is you. There's no separate. We're locked into these bodies, right? Locked into these bodies in this third dimension. Our words are locked into our words, but their meaning is so much grander, right? We're locked in these little boundaries in this dimension, but really at the end of the day, we are all everything, and we are
Exactly.
all each other. That's why, I mean, I just wish more people would wake up to that, because if you knew that that person is you and you are that person, then there would be no judgment, there would be no hatred, there would be no jealousy. I mean, it's you at the end of the day. But I mean, ooh, what a powerful experience you had. So my next question, people are doing these, right? They're doing different psychedelics, and they're diving into all of this stuff, right? And I'm finding you have a group of people who are chasing that oneness instead of integrating what they've learned within their journey. Because at the end of the day, you can see God, be God, and change your perspective. But if you're not changing your life in this 3D, then what is the point of the message you just received with the beautiful medicine that you just took? So what do you think about that? What do you think? What is your advice to people that do these medicines and feel like they just got to keep going and going and going and going, and don't ever really integrate? How do you integrate?
And that's the most important thing, is integrate after you have come back from your inner journey in the inner verse,
Mm-hmm.
is to take that to this world and apply it. Well, see, I had folks who were, medicine people from the tribe who helped us do that. You just didn't do it, and all of a sudden you're back out going to work and handling your business. There was a time where, we talked about what was going on. And then there was forbidden knowledge television.
This is logged in on November 25th, 2023, Eastern Standard Time. Sensitive material has been breached, and it is now in front of the public. This is very sensitive documentation, and the world will be in total chaos if leaked, and it is now leaked. All of it. Not one document, all of it. Place of exploitation, forbidden knowledge television. This must be stopped.
Ceremonies and things like that to help you, so that you could use this.
Yeah.
When I started doing the subconscious alignment work, I had lots of clients, thousands of clients over maybe like 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of my clients had done they've been to the ayahuasca church. They're there every
Mm-hmm.
Sunday. They've done all these things and they keep doing it. And I'm saying, well, what has changed?
Mm-hmm.
I have only met a few people, you and a few other people who have taken these journeys, and actually you can see where it's changed them.
Yeah.
Most people go back in the world and it's like they live their life still, and they look forward to going to get high again.
Yeah.
But actually that high becomes low because it's just like now it's just like alcohol and anything else. You're looking to relieve or to get away or to run away from your life instead of learning how to rearrange your life. See, the average person is like sitting in the back seat of a luxury car and not realizing that it's theirs. They've let go of the wheel at some point. You see? So they're just waiting for this other world to pop up so they could live, not realizing that this world is that world. So integration is a time period that you take to take what you've learned, because sometimes what you've learned, most of the times what I've learned in these journeys is not speakable.
Yeah, I know.
It's mystical. And when you look up the word mystical, you look up the etymology, it says no tongue. You can't explain. I was watching a show, some show the other night, and it was the mystery of something, the mysteries, and all these shows about the mysteries at the end, they say, well, we still don't know. I'm like, I just watched the show for an hour, the mystery of such and such. It's you can't explain a true mystical experience.
Right.
Now that I've had several journeys, probably at least once a year, I'll have a journey, and it's like it's my life. That's how I live. I was on this interview with 19 Keys, and what I was saying was way out, I think, to him, and he had never heard this kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
And at some point he says, Dr. B, you be on them shrooms, huh? Because I guess whatever I was saying had to be coming from the shroom world. And I looked at him and I said, I am a mushroom. And so we are. Once you open up to you're connected to everything, you don't even have to necessarily do them. Everybody doesn't have to do them. I know people that can just have them and just touch them and boom, they're gone.
Yeah.
Because there's a thin veil between this world and the other dimensions.
Yeah.
The only thing that keeps us from being able to tap in is our mindset. It's
ego.
our mindset. The ego is just like them. This is who we are. We're not going to change. And this is my personality. This is my family. And that me and my, and that thing keeps us away from the we. We're all having this connection. So I realized that on the journeys that I've been on, when I come back, I realize how much I am connected to everything. And I don't have to be any one thing. Like I don't follow trends. I'm not into any one thing. People say, well, Dr. B, you're like one of the leaders of the conscious community. I don't know what that means. How could you not be conscious? Everybody, if you're awake, you're conscious. I mean, it's like, what does that mean? Woke. I mean, I wonder what you're really meaning, because there's a special way of dressing now. You know what I'm saying? You got to wear this special spiritual shirt. You know what I'm saying? You've got to have a singing bowl and a crystal. And some of the people I know who are the most spiritual have none of this, and they don't even mention the word spirituality. They don't keep saying, "Oh, spiritual."
Right.
Spiritual. Well, what does that mean?
Right.
Everything is spiritual. Everything. Your nervous system is spiritual. You know what I'm saying? The trees, they grow in spirals. If you understand the golden mean and the Fibonacci sequence, you can see it everywhere. The planet is spiraling around the sun. The sun is spiraling around Vega or Sirius, and Sirius is spiraling. It's around Vega. It's all spirituality. So what are you saying? But it's just something to say, I'm such and such. I'm this religion. I'm that religion. And we want to claim some things that really mean nothing, that make us feel like we are something, but you're actually nothing and everything all at the same time. You're everywhere at the same time. And to think that we're here right now, it's like a joke to me. That's why people say, well, Dr. B, you're really funny. And I'm not cracking any jokes. The way I'm talking is the way it's coming to me. I'm open to the beings that are there that come through me. And after my shroom trips, they're channeling to me all the time. I don't ever have to actually do it again. I am it. I'm tapped into it all the time.
All the time.
And we all are, because we're made of it. It's just that sometimes we need a little help to get that DMT to come online. Yeah. Even though in dream time, a lot of times that's DMT. That's opening up that pineal, opening up those other parts of you that are living in other dimensions.
Yes.
Once you let go of this world, once you let go of this and say, this is it, and you say, I'm ready to receive everything, it opens up automatically. I am, we're here. It seems like we're here right now, but that's almost impossible that we're only here.
Mhm.
And that's what, the mushrooms showed me. I mean, I've done a whole bunch of other, supposedly, psychedelics, and there's nothing that did anything like the mushrooms. Nothing.
Yeah.
The rest of it was cool. Yeah, it was wild. That was freaky. Wow. And then I don't have anything I can take back with me.
Yeah.
Every time I travel with the mushrooms, I come back with formulas, ideas. I meet people. I meet people who are like having the same type connection, and we could just look at each other. Like when I met you, I knew. I said, "Oh yeah, she's a traveler." You could tell. It's something about the person's eyes or something. Oh, we're fellow travelers. You've been there too. Huh? You're a
it's an understanding.
A mustronaut. You're a mustronaut. Have you been to space before? Yes, I have. I've been all the way through the whole universe, and I am the universe. Oh my God. It's that weird talk. But I just know, like my friends, I have friends who they're going to do the ayahuasca trip this weekend. I'm asking you, you've done this for years. What has changed?
Yeah.
Well, I saw this and I met my grandmother. What did grandma say? Well, she was just smiling. I'm like, how many times have you done this? And you're still working hard. You're still slaving away. You know what I'm saying? You still got chronic servitude syndrome. This is what a lot of people suffer from, chronic servitude syndrome. Even when they're off the plantation, they still feel like there's, got to be servants, got to give all my money away. It's weird. So I say, listen, you do what you like, but I just know that for me, it's about the mycelium network, because you can't have any life without it. It's the oldest thing, and the information that I have received is just so vast. It's vast, and it's like a joke looking at this. It's all fun. People say, "Well, Dr. B, why are you so funny?" I said, "I'm not trying to be funny. I'm very serious." But people laugh because I'm having fun. I'm having fun at this. Listen, I don't know in the physical when I'm going to leave. This could be it today. So guess what I'm going to do today? I'm going to live today. Never mind this bucket list thing. I'm going to live today as if this is the final day in the physical, because I now know that is no way to die. Yes. In those journeys, I died and was able to travel. That's when I got my wings.
Yes.
That's when I found out where I was from. I'm not from here. I'm a visitor. This is just bus stop Earth. You know what I'm saying? But when you live life like that, oh my gosh, it's crazy. Like when I come down to see you guys, I'm having fun. People are all serious. Well, Dr. B, what do you do? I don't really know what I do. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. Well, people really like you. I don't know why they do, because I haven't really said anything that really is deep. Not as deep as what I'm hearing from the network. The mycelium is saying some things, and they're working on repairing the neural networks, every cell in the body. They're working with the telomeres. And the reason why your telomeres are shortening, because you're telling them the wrong information, because telomeres to me are like little telephones. Telling your body what it is you think and what your life expectancy is.
Yes.
Somebody's telling you your life expectancy? The life expectancy of this type of person. What are you talking about? What do I expect? And this is one of the things I learned on my journey, that I have to create my life expectancy. What do I expect? What am I creating? What am I focusing on? And every time I do a journey now, I have a goal. And it's like I have a council meeting with them. I say, listen, this is my goal. I have an outcome. I have a destination that I'd like to get to. And I'd like you guys to help me. You see, if you listen to what they say, you actually receive. I get to where I'm going. Everything that I've asked for, I actually get.
Yeah.
If I listen, you have to listen. And listening is not just with your ears.
Right.
So it's just beautiful to have these things available, which are now becoming more and more legal. And I was reading psychiatry today, and they had mushrooms on the front. They were saying that it was the only thing in 200 years of psychology, or 300 or whatever it is, that actually caused change in people. All the medicines and all the sitting on the rubber couch, and how is it helping? You tell me what therapy really helps people's minds. Yeah. What really helps? And then, my friend said, well, I found God, and, it's about Jesus and such and such. I said, well, you just follow. What happens if that's not real? What happens if you find out that was just a great analogy and a story? And you know what I'm saying? What are you going to do if you found out that that wasn't it? You're through. But all of
Cognitive
those stories, all
Uh-huh.
of those stories are saying the same thing. That
Yeah.
you have to find yourself. Where do you find yourself? Not out
Inward.
in the universe. It's the innerverse.
Inward. Yes.
Going
Inward.
inward.
Yes.
And once you go, you tap into that, and not everybody needs mushrooms to do it. Some folks are already high every day, but some of us, we could use those tools, and if you use the tools respectfully,
yes,
and you're not just doing this as a bunch of people getting together to have this party, because I find that journey is a journey alone. It's you're alone in that world, and you could meet what you call ancestors and everything in that world, but they may not look like what you're used to. Because I always see these things, it's like spirals, and it's like it seems like these beings that almost are like octopus with lights, but they're not. They always come to me and they're spinning in this, I created this music, which I have on my website. It's called medicine music. I based it on those trips.
Wow.
And a couple people have taken, they said, man, it's like this music is like a mushroom trip. I said, well, it actually is. I picked that information up from the journey. So everything I'm playing is from the journey to take us out of this place. So we'll realize that this is not finite where we're at right now.
Right.
This is not
deep.
it.
That's deep. The music, that's vibration. I mean, that's hitting people's ears and putting them into a different state. And boom, they could probably get there from that. I mean, people can, my husband is there all the time. I'm like, how do you know this stuff? And you've never done any type of psilocybin, any type of journeys with anything. You don't drink, you don't smoke, you don't do. I'm like, how do you know all this? And he's like, I just do. I'm like, oh, okay. All right. It's just there deep seated within some people. But you know what it is? It's the conditioning from a very young age that, we get old. And as we get old, we age and we start looking like this. And we're usually only going to live until 80 years old. And it's all this deep seated conditioning that we have to break out of. And what these help you do is it helps you see that that's not it. Everything that we've been conditioned since we were a little kid, I mean, it's not it. The world is so much bigger and so much grander. And this life is only a tiny little blip inside of it, I mean, when I did my journey, it was like the stress that people hold on to and feel on a daily basis is just so unnecessary. It's unnecessary because here is just like you said, a little bus stop, boom, and then you're gone because you are everything and you are all the time, and there is no time. It's like, it's deep. It's real deep.
One of the things that I have had to deal with throughout my life is abandonment. Okay, and I grew up with both of my parents. But then they left. They left. That can be abandonment. I've had different things that you might call loss in my life. The mushrooms let me know that you're not abandoned. That's impossible for you to be abandoned when you are a part of a vast omniverse.
Yeah.
You've got friends and relatives everywhere, but you're stuck on thinking that this little second, whether it's 80 years or 150 years, it's just a brief. Like we decided, we chose to come here. Yeah. We chose to have this experience. And somebody said, well, why? I wouldn't choose this life. I said, well, if you were a master, you would. Because a master is always testing themselves. A master, if you're the great kung fu-ish, you know what I'm saying? You've kicked everybody's ass. I am the great kung fu master. He's got 1,000 black belts. He's got every belt. And then all of a sudden, the great dragon comes to town. Now he's sitting there eating his rice and his, kelp. Why does he leave his comfort of his home with his family? I must go fight the great dragon master. Why would you do that? When knowing that the great dragon masters killed everybody and burned them alive, you know what I'm saying? Why would you go fight him? Because a master is always looking to keep its mastery in mastership. You must always master yourself by doing something. You must stress yourself. You can't get comfortable. You got to keep pushing the envelope.
Yes.
So a master would come here and you wonder why this family and I got drama. That's because you don't remember that you're here to master something. You're here to live this life. Some of us are here to live this life as humans, right? Because we asked for it.
Yes.
We saw it beforehand. And we said, oh, let's choose that. The even trauma in that family, pain. I need to go live that life because, you know, to make a diamond, think about how much pressure it must go through to become a diamond. It's 1,000. The pressure, it's the change, it's the trauma and the drama. You understand what I'm saying? You're looking at PTSD, right? And when Billy said that the doctor told him that he was going through post-traumatic growth syndrome.
Yeah.
I was like, what? I heard that. I says, I think I got that too. I take the drama and compost it. That make it into stories and everything. It's just a story.
Yes.
You know, you know what's interesting in subconscious alignment? We're always working at helping people's conscious minds and their subconscious minds become balanced and in homeostasis towards a goal. What is the goal you'd like? And let's look at what is the cognitive dissonance? What are the words and the sounds and the actions that are causing you to have this stress? And people, when they start telling their story, they start crying. They've cried about the same story 1,000 times, right? They start telling the story. And then I say, okay, I want you to change your voice. And they said, well, what do you mean? They're crying. I said, change your voice. And they said, what do you mean? Like this. Oh, Grandpa. And Grandpa. And they start laughing. They start, whoa, and Grandpa. I said, change your voice again. Well, you know, there was a time when I was living in my car. And they're laughing. And all of a sudden I said, you see something? We just changed your state. Because you used a different voice so that your body isn't in stress because that's not you.
Yeah.
It's not you. That voice is not you. Stutterers like James Earl Jones. They say this guy's a stutterer. And he came up with that voice, that Darth Vader voice. And he doesn't stutter at all. Like the singer who stutters, they can't talk. They can't do interviews, but singing, because that time you are not you. What I realize is when I'm taking the mushrooms, when I'm journeying with them, I'm not me. And because I'm not me, I can fly, I can travel, I can go anywhere and get any answer. Now, sometimes, now check it out. When you get right back from the trip, you don't know, the answer. It's not like, okay, wow, I figured it all out. It may be months, it may be days. You may hear a bell or see a hawk and realize, oh my God, the hawk is talking to me. And you start feeling nature give you the answer in subtle ways. But the answer will be there because the issue was that your vision wasn't broad enough. Your hearing, your frequency range was reduced into this humanness. And the conversations, people speak the language of slavery and struggle. That's what they speak. This is how they, it's how you met your loved one because you both had drama stories. Now you got the trauma bond, and now you got married in trauma, and you got the traumatic wedding. I saw you guys married. I couldn't believe it. I cried. I was crying because look, they had little flowers on their hair, and the people were singing this little rhythm and playing this music in the water. Like, oh my God, this is crazy. That ain't marriage. That's not marriage. Marriage for most people is a mirage. The cake with the little fake people on top and the same vanilla cake with the same people. And everybody's talking in this monotone. And do you take time to be your? It's not like some ritual. Is this some type of stuff? And then the song, dun 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 dun. I said, that's a death march. I know I can. Put the drums back in. Remix. And you're getting married, right? Then we're going to have a divorce because the divorce has already happened because you came into a dead place and you're having a mirage rather than a celebration of life. Wow. I mean, you guys already were there. You know what I'm saying? You guys were already there, but being on that beach in that air and with the guy, whatever he was saying, the guy that was marrying you, this wasn't no regular stuff. I didn't hear no, do you take that? No.
He's speaking in tongues. Yeah.
What is he saying? I said, oh my God, this is crazy. They're getting married on the beach. That's marriage. That's real. That's becoming evenly yoked, that experiencing your feet in the sand on you're not even getting grounded at the wedding. You got on, you know what I'm saying? Special high heel shoes and a linoleum floor on top of concrete in this building with broken glass. And, it's a whole ritual. But when you get out of those rituals, when you get out of this construct, this 3D construct, that's when things open up. That's what mushrooms do. Yeah. Even the medicinal mushrooms do that because they look at, I have this formula called it's called Dr. B's Master Mushroom Tonic. It has 12 mushrooms, and they're all medicinal mushrooms, and they're formulated a special way because you just can't boil them. Because if you boil them, you kill off some of the spores. And some you have to put in the water, warm, cool water in the sun. There's like 3 ways to process them so that they're going to really, have life. And what they do is they actually change your DNA. See, mushrooms can look for broken DNA. Herbs can't. Herbs are like cleansers and they're builders and they're nutrition. But when it comes to mushrooms, they can search around and say, what the heck is this? Is this a Thanksgiving turkey DNA stuck in your liver? Let's get rid of it because you're not a turkey. You see what I'm saying? They're intelligent.
Yes.
They're intelligent and they look around to see where you need help in ways intelligently that no herb, no vitamin can do. So
you saw that thing in Japan. They had a fungi, right? And it climbed through the petri dish and reorganized the train station in Japan so it would be more optimal.
Yes.
Fungi did that.
Yes.
Humans couldn't even do that. Fungi did that. That's deep.
It was that Fukushima where they went inside and there was no more radiation. What happened to the radiation? It was this black fungi, which
ate it.
The radiation.
Yes. Yes.
Oyster mushrooms. They use oyster mushrooms in toxic dumps. They plant oyster mushrooms. The oyster mushrooms eat the toxic junk. They eat it. They dissolve it.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. I know.
You see, this is transmutation at its best. This is alchemy. They are nature's alchemists, and they're everywhere at every time. I love, Star Trek Discovery.
Yes, me too. The mycelial network.
Oh my gosh, it's crazy. They travel on the mycelium network.
Yes. Yes. You know that every step we take on the planet, there's 300 miles of mycelium underneath every single little step we take. Is they're everywhere. It's deep.
So when you're grounding, right?
Yeah.
You're connecting the sole of your foot with the soul of the universe.
Woo! Oh, man.
That's soul right there. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yes.
Every step you take, just standing there.
Yeah.
With your naked feet on the ground. Because you've been wearing rubber shoes and you know what I'm saying?
Cutting yourself off from the intelligence, man. The intelligence is right there. There.
This is what Ober's talking about. You know what I'm saying? You're talking about earthing. That is touching the mycelium network so you can receive the message of change and shift. Yes. You can't receive the message because you've been in this box. Your house is square. Your life is square. You got these rules. You turn on the news and all of that stuff is just distortion. They keep talking about how bad it's getting, which actually is impossible for it to be getting worse, for it not to be getting better at the same time.
Yeah.
Everything is connected to its opposite. But if you focus that, the reticular activating system is going to expand whatever you're focusing on. So if you focus on how bad it is, it gets worse.
Yes.
You see? Now, when I've done the mushroom trips, they're looking at this is fun. Let's have some fun. Let's look at the ugly stuff. Let's dissolve it. Let's just eat it away. It's just old scar tissue. It really doesn't exist. The average person lives in the realm of hungry ghost. Old ideas that should be dead and composted that you're carrying with you in your mind. So let's take you on a trip so you can realize that is just a choice you're making to focus on that. Yes. Whatever you focus on expands.
Yep.
Focus on something beautiful. Focus on something loving. And for some of us, using these tools, the mycelium, the mushrooms, actually helps you focus now on who you really are. And it changes your life expectancy. I know that every time I have taken the journey, it's reduced 10 years. I've gained 10 years. Yeah. It's like I get 10 years younger.
Yes.
Every single people can't guess my age. They never know. Oh, Dr. V, what old are you? I says, I don't know what my age is. I stopped. After I did my first mushroom, I said, let me stop having this birthday and this age thing because it's gonna kill me.
Yeah.
They start telling you what's happening at what age and which age you should be and who you should date at what age. The mushroom said, forget all that. You're ageless. You're timeless. It's impossible what they're talking about. It's a scam. That's just to keep you on the farm, right? As a sheep. So you can do what the farmer wants you to do.
Absolutely.
But that's what I realize is every single time I'm 10 years younger. So I would say there's probably been about 7-8 times. So I'm 70 years younger
Yeah.
than what I should be as a human being. But I realize I'm not a human being. I had to choose that. I am cosmic. I'm everywhere. I'm everything.
Yes.
I do what I love, and I love what I do only. Why? Because anything else is against my law. I don't go anywhere. Somebody asked me today, they said, Dr. B, we have a lot of money. We want you to do a lecture. And they started telling me what I was going to do and how much money. They kept mentioning the money. I says, it's not about the money for me right now. I don't care about the money. I don't like the group of people you're talking to and what you want me to talk about. I don't talk about that. Well, we're going to pay you. It's going to be, I don't care. You can't pay me. I'm going to stay home. You understand what I'm saying? I got a new song I'm working on. You know what I'm saying? I got a new instrument that's like, that's going to I'm working on a new project that you can understand. I'm working with the God power.
Yeah.
What's God power? How could you have God power? So I can't talk to you because you don't have it and you don't want it and you don't need it. So it's not about being able to buy me. I don't, you can't buy me right now because I'm all connected to what I love. I'm only doing what I love, spending time with those who I love. Yeah. If I come and hang out with you, it's love. I don't fall in love with anything. It's love. It's instantaneous.
Yeah.
When I met Billy first time, it was love. It was like, oh my God, this is my brother.
Yeah.
When I first saw him, I was like, I don't know how I'm going to talk to this guy. He's not really, I don't know. Where's he from? He was just spewing out this information. Like, what? His eyes ain't blinking right. You know what I'm saying? I'm saying, but then when we actually did something together, I realized, oh wow, everything is connected to his opposite. He has a way of expressing that I don't know how on a technical level. And I can come in on this level on a fun level and life and the energetic level, and it was like perfect. It was like a marriage. I was like, oh, this is tight. This is tight. Yeah. And then I remember, we were doing something and I said something and Billy started laughing and he was down on the console cracking up. And I remember Brother Rich said, "Hey, you got Billy Carson laughing?" I said, "This is some funny ass shit, man." Even for aliens and walk-ins and, symbiotes. If you look at this is some funny shit. But I laugh and I can have fun because my body is connected to everything. I am a part of the mycelium network, and it's it's probably more than 65% of my DNA right now. And then I see it in television. I was looking at this picture of Jesus one day, and I said, "What is that thing around his head?" And I said, "Oh my God, that's a mushroom around Jesus's head. It's got the little lines."
Wow.
I said, "That's a mushroom. He's high. He's the most high." I said, "So all these guys, they're high." What? The priest. Because see, what happened was everybody would sit around and do some type of, this is ancient. Everybody would sit around and do some type of, take some type of journey together as a group, as a village, right? And everybody would get the message. Then they got to a point where the environment changed, so there wasn't as much for everybody to take. So they didn't have as many mushrooms or, or rue or whatever they were doing. So only certain people, like the elders, would do it. And they would give the message to the village because the village, would receive the message all at the same time when they were doing it together. But now all of a sudden, there's not enough for everybody. So the elders would take it. Then it got to a point where there wasn't enough for the elders. So they selected these people, called them priests. And they would be the only ones that would be, communing with God. You know what I'm saying? They would be the most high. They were higher than everybody else. They got mushroom hats, mushroom outfits, all mushrooms. It's about the mushrooms. They're the most high. Then what happened was these folks figured out that, wait a minute, we could make people pay for information. Make them pay. So then we can tell them what God said. And all of a sudden, this thing got corrupted because only a few people were able to commune with the Most High and be the Most High. That's when the problem came. That's when religions came. Yeah. But if you listen to all of them, they sound like they're pretty high. Even the talk they have. This is honor thithe, ithrin, thithrin to the old. What are you talking about? Can't you speak some regular English? Then they got the stained glass. The stained glass is coming in. It's like, what is happening? You're trying to create that vibe, like, as if we're on a mushroom trip in the church. You know what I'm saying? With the stained glass.
It's deep. I never thought about it like this. Oh, man.
The stained glass is broken chakras all rearranged, so I'm confused. I don't know what the songs are really about. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But when you realize that we are the church, we are the temple, we are the mosque, we are the ashram. It is us.
It's us.
It's not outside of us. And I'm, and in a lot of your holy texts, they're saying that. You can do more than I can. That's all I had to hear. I stopped reading. Wait a minute. Did the dude just say that I can do more than he can do? And then they hung his ass out to dry? Oh, wait a minute now. I don't need to do that. He said I can do more. So let me go do more. And now all of a sudden, you reach this point where you realize that you are the Most High. And what you're looking for is usually inside of you. Now, those of us who have had those journeys, we can look each other in the eye. And all of a sudden, we just smile. You don't have to say anything. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
I know, it's automatic.
We're telepathic.
Yeah.
You've reached the level of telepathy.
Most High. Yes.
Once you're the Most High.
Deep, man.
Billy told me, he says, man, I'm not going to do anything to change my DNA. I don't want to change anything. I agree. Don't you do nothing.
I was like, I know. I told him too. I was like, no, you don't need to. You don't need to
changed Billy Carson, man. That could be it, man. He's the only one right now that's channeling that way with that information. In order for us to get it, he needs this. So I tell people, if you don't feel you need to do this trip, don't go do this because you feel like you have to. Don't do
it if you
other people want you to do it, and you may not need to. They call me.
Yeah,
and all I see is
and you know when they call. You know when they call. You have a feeling, and you'll know. You'll know. Oh my God, Dr. B, man, thank you so much. This has been a wealth of information and stories in my mind. You made me think about something completely different with religion and the Most High. It makes so much sense. Oh
mushroom hat.
It's crazy. Thank you. Thank you so much for being here with me today. Where can people find you? Because you're a wealth of knowledge, man. Just
you can find me. Our website is elevationtime.com. Elevationtime.com. You can also find Doctah B Sirius. Doctah, DOCTAH, the letter B, no period. And Sirius, SIRIUS. You can find me on Instagram and on Facebook and at a mushroom place.
Thank you so much
but
for being
only
here.
Like once a year, so I'm not doing something every week. I'm not at the mushroom church every week. You know what I'm saying? But I do eat a lot of mushrooms. That's one of my favorite foods.
I do too. I actually ate mushrooms for dinner last night, actually.
And they actually love us. So thank you very much. And you keep doing what you're doing. And congratulations to all that you're doing. And wow, you're just a gem. I love this new show.
Thanks, Dr. B. I appreciate it so much. And I can't wait to speak again. You guys, wow. Oh, yeah. And if you haven't checked out God Power with Billy and Dr. B, you guys have to check it out because that right there, life-changing, incredible. That was mushrooms. That was like a mushroom trip in itself without the mushrooms.
It was. That was a mycelium journey. And it's available still on our website at elevationtime.com. You can go there. I think you guys have it over there at Forbidden Knowledge too.
Yes,
that
we
right
do.
there,
Yes,
you want to have a trip. You may not need to take anything, but just take notes because that is a journey. Finding the God power within yourself is where we're at right now. It's all in you, and it has always been. The answers are in us. You don't have to look out. Yes. Let's look in. So travel light. You don't need all that luggage because most of it's not yours anyway. Take care.
And with that, mic drop.